Hey guys. Okay. Hey, it's hi. So my name is Marvin. I'm here on Paper Street Projects just to come here and just wanted to show you the charts, at least my charts of how I look at the market. And also just to give a little insight of where the market could possibly go. I'm going to be trying to do this update, every other day, maybe every couple of days, only because I look at the market on a weekly basis. I also look at a daily basis, but the weekly gives me a better picture on where it can go. Right, I kind of approach it from a zoomed out approach rather than looking at it at a 4 hour or an 8 hour, which doesn't really give me much of a picture. It only shows me how the market reacts to certain levels. Okay, so starting on the weekly, as you can see, I do have this trend line trend line drawn out here from starting from the 12th of April, and it kind of tapped on the 6th of September and then kind of broke through. We're pretty much just waiting for a possible, retouch or maybe a retest here of 50,000 and then a resuming higher. Again, zooming on the daily, it might not look like that, but we did retest here today and then kind of resumed higher. So we'll see where the pullback areas could look like. Now I'm going to explain why I have my levels pointed out the way they are. And the reason being is because we have yellow here. This was somewhat of a resistance, right? Over here with this little blue line touching it. And then this was support here. Okay, that's why I flipped it to green. We had support here, and then this was some sort of resistance, and this was also support and then resistance, which kind of broke down. So the market broke down at those levels. See resistance here, support, support, resume, support, and then a little bit of a retouch of these, really light areas of support. And I'll go over that too on the daily, so you can see a better picture as to why I choose those levels. Let's see here. So right now we have the market bullish momentum. It didn't quite tap into my levels of 58,800. I am waiting for that retest, right? That would be where the bulls are aiming for, more or less. Could be a little higher, but that's why I kind of thicken out the zones just to give me a better area. It just gives me a little bit more of a clear picture. I know some people like to use these thin lines, right? Nothing wrong with that. For me, I just kind of like widening out the zones. So for a weekly time frame, we could expect a little bit of a pullback into these areas and then a resumption higher. What I do like is the fact that we are closing above last week's close, right? So the candle for last week is 48,235. Now this is, I think, on Bitstamp. I'm not sure. Let me see if this is on Bitstamp. Yeah, I think this one's on Bitstamp. Let me get rid of that for you. So as you can see, we're well above this area, which signals bullish momentum for me. The bulls are in control. We just like to see a nice little pullback area, maybe in the blue, right? Consolidate a little bit, or maybe even down towards the yellow, consolidate a little bit, then a resumption higher. Or we can just pull right through, pull back, and then resume higher. We do have about 3 weeks left before the month of October ends. If you see on the monthly, looks really bullish, right? We are closing above last month's opening of 47,100. So all that's left really are these levels here that kind of come to mind, which is, again, 58,800 to about 57,800. We could see a possible tap into the 59,000 area, but I'm just going over the markets as I see them, as how I interpret them, right? Because there's a lot of people out there that have different approaches. Looking at the charts, try to chart this out. It's an art, right? It's subjective. It's really how the person who sees it, rather than what everybody else is looking. Because I can be wrong, right? I can be wrong. But the reason why I zoom out on a weekly, it just gives me a better picture of what the market looks like. So let's just zoom in on the daily really quick. As you can see now, we could possibly close today above 51,500, which for me, that's, again, bullish. Let me just point that out really quick. Make a nice little line here, then zoom in on the 4 hour, right? So we're kind of pretty much just above this 51,500, which makes me believe that we can resume higher. So let me just get rid of that. I don't like to predict the market where it's going. I just kind of approach it from a very simple and a basic approach, which is just horizontal lines of support and resistance. So for me, it would seem that we can tap right into this area, possibly consolidate, and then resume higher, or we can just tap in, melt down, and probably just consolidate at these levels here on 52,000 and then resume higher. So that's what I kind of look for, on a higher time frame view, right? I kind of approach this from a macro point of view. So that's it for Bitcoin, right? For me, a break above 58,300, to 59,000 would signal the bulls to enter and kind of just push this to new all-time highs, right? That would be my scenario. So we just got to keep this area in mind when we're looking at Bitcoin. Could happen now, could happen 2-3 weeks from now, maybe next month. We don't know. But what I do know is that the macro approach to this would be the debasement of fiat currencies, right? Also, the massive debt issuance that the U.S. is issuing, going parabolic on the Fed's balance sheet. We're already at about a little over 8 trillion. They want to push it up to 10 trillion, which would make scarce assets like Bitcoin even pump harder, right? So just approaching that from a macro point of view allows us to see that Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market can and will go higher. So that's what I have here for that. So again, just to go over that, tap into here, possible consolidation, and then a resumption higher, or we can see a little bit of a pullback and then kind of resuming higher, just giving the market a little air to breathe. So pullback areas would be about 52,000 to 50,000, more or less. So that's my weekly level, and that's my local area of interest, right? Just kind of pay attention to that area. Because when I zoom in, right, when you're zooming in, you can see that there was some kind of interaction here. And then let's see if there's more. There's a little bit of interaction here. 1, 2, and then a little bit 3. Not enough to convince a lot of traders out there that's some kind of level. But I mean, honestly, if you zoom in even on the hourly, it just kind of, just skips over that. So again, I could be wrong. I just like to point that out because it's possible that the market can just kind of come right back down here, right? Because this was resistance at some point. So again, I approach it very basically, right? I don't like to overcrowd my charts. I don't use RSI, all these fancy, indicators. Although maybe I should, but for me, I'm just doing this. I just like to use it very simply, right? Very simple. I don't like to overcrowd my charts. So that's one for Bitcoin. Let's move over to Ethereum. As you can see, Ethereum tapped into two levels. I have my local area. So my local area, my areas of interest, I highlighted in blue, like a sky blue color. And then the red would be the weekly levels of resistance. Yellow is indecisive, and then green is for support. As you can see, this highlighted neon green yellow is an important area for me because when you zoom out on the, let's see the weekly, right? The weekly for me, that was important because you can see it was resistance here, but all the way back in May and June, right? That was some sort of resistance area. So we did revisit it here. We couldn't break, and then all of a sudden we broke above, and now that was support. What the market did pretty much was we topped out here at 3,900, just like we did back in May, and we just had to pull back. It was a nice little healthy pullback right into that area. Now we just gently tapped it, lightly tapped that area, and then we also tapped again to confirm the week after that into this local area of interest. I call it area of interest because honestly, I feel like that's something that the traders are paying attention to. And then when you kind of zoom in on the daily, you can see that, we had this as a base, right? A lot of bulls were defending that area of about $2,700 to about $2,800. And then let's just kind of zoom back a little bit. We can see this was kind of a resistance, a little bit of resistance, and then flip to support on that day. So again, and again, that's resistance. So again, I kind of zoom out just to give an overall like an idea of where the markets could go. But also I kind of just justify my levels by looking at market interaction with these light levels, these little local areas of interest, I guess you could say. Now, the reason why I picked this blue over here is because we had a little bit of resistance here, a little bit of support, and then resistance. Then we just kind of blew through that. Okay, so and then I highlighted this one on top as well because again, resistance, and then it's kind of a little messy here, just a little bit, and then we just kind of broke down through that. So they do stand out to me, right? Rightfully so, because this area came right back around, and the market was paying attention, and we consolidated around these areas. So it does give some type of validity. I know maybe some traders are not, some vets probably looking at it like, what is this? But to me, it kind of stands out. Again, I am not like a pro or a professional. I self-taught. Obviously, I'm going to be growing with the community too. So, hopefully the community can grow with me. And at this point, we just bumped right into this weekly resistance here, $3,500 towards to 36. So I'd like to see some consolidation here before a leg higher, or I also like to see a possible pullback into the 3,300 area or even $3,100, right? And the reason why I say $3,100 is because this was support, this was resistance. We have a little bit of resistance. It would just make sense that we pull back a little bit just to confirm that this is support. Again, I could be wrong. That would be the pullback scenario, maybe a dip into 3,000. So around these areas would be your pullback areas, right? But again, coming from a macro point of view, right, zooming out 5 to 10 years, this is always going to go up and to the right. Of course, we're going to have our, bear market cycle, and then we're going to have our bull market cycle. So, but all in all, the charts, when you're zooming out, let's just say the 3-month on the quarterly, it's up and to the right, right? There's your bull market, your bear market, where you would accumulate at these levels, and then a resumption higher, and then maybe even higher. Again, depending where the market's going to take us, right? I'm not here to predict the markets. I'm just here to just kind of go over where I think the markets could possibly go. I just a very humble approach to these markets. So we're just waiting right now. So again, a bullish scenario would be a consolidation here, and then right into the next area of $3,900 to 4,000, and then back to all-time highs, and then even higher, right? So that's where we are now for Ethereum. It's going to follow Bitcoin. Just drink some water. It's going to follow Bitcoin. So we're just going to wait on what Bitcoin does. So that's where we are right now for Ethereum. Just to recap one more time, pullback area of either $3,300 or even $3,100. There's 3, right? So there's 1 here, there's 2, and then there's 3. We could see that and then a resumption higher, or we could just see some of this and then a resumption higher. As long as we don't lose, $2,900, as long as we don't lose this, we should be fine, right? We don't want to see any, weekly closures below this area. That would, that would kind of psych the market out a little bit. Okay, so that's why I keep this yellow, just so that way, that's just an indecisive area. Now let's move over to, let's see. No, XTZ is 815. Okay, so XRP, one of the most controversial coins out there. These are, again, weekly levels of resistance and support. Red, yellow is the indecisive, right? It looks like we're just about consolidating at these levels. It was support, resistance, and we're just kind of moving on up. I'd like to see this daily, not even the daily. I like to see the weekly kind of close above it, just to kind of resume higher. As long as we're above this candle closing of about a dollar, what are we at, $1.04, $1.05, we should resume higher, right? So let's look at the weekly really quick. So these are my weekly levels. You can see here that we're just in this yellow range, aiming towards $1.13, right? And then possibly to $1.25 with $1.32 right up here, because we need to retest these levels, right? So again, just to see, we're going to resume, possibly resuming, if we're going to remain bullish, $1.13, then we could see a movement, a push up towards $1.22 to $1.26, and then ultimately retesting 130. I like to take baby steps on our way up. So, you know, for me, as long as Bitcoin remains bullish, consolidation, et cetera, we could see, a resumption towards these higher levels, even possibly to 141. But again, I take it one step at a time, one day at a time, right? You can see, and the reason why I chose 90 cents, right, and why I chose these levels, you could see that 90 cents had some resistance, right? We had a pierce up to here and then a quick slam down. But we closed right below this green area. So I use this as my levels here, and then we can see now that's turned into support. So if I were to draw a straight line, a horizontal ray from that to this, you could see more or less the market's paying attention to that level of 94,692. So 94 cents, 95 cents, there, the market's paying attention to that. So we came up, and just one more example again, right? We broke down here, right? Resistance, fell back down into support. That's why it's green. And then we just kind of broke right through. So what happens next, right? We have to, the market wants to confirm that this was resistance flipped to support. So the market consolidated a little bit and then kind of fell right into that area, right? Into support, right? So that's why I zoom out on the weekly. It's easier for you to see, like when you're zooming out, where your possible levels are, where your levels of retesting, right? So this level was mapped out back in May. So that's why I like to zoom out. I like to a very zoomed out approach. How I trade, position trader. I enter a trade and I just wait weeks in advance. That's why I'm a part-time. I'm not really full-time yet, right? But I'm just kind of testing the waters and seeing how my approach works in the market. Might not work for a lot of people, right? Some people like to day trade or they like to scalp. I don't have enough. I don't have that in me to kind of just, I like to just set it and forget it. I don't want to consistently look at the markets, and I just kind of just look at it, okay, maybe it closed here. Let me enter position here, maybe with a stop loss down here, something like that, which kind of gives me enough time to just let the market do its thing, right? I let the market come to me rather than trying to make, a trade out of something that might not be there. Now, the reason why I waited for such a long time, because this area was never retested, right? So you spent, let's just say 3 weeks, June, July, August, September, October, well, it's September. So, you waited about 3 months for this retest, right? So you wait for the week, let it bounce, right? And then as soon as this candle closed above or at the top range of this area, so let's zoom in on the daily, it gives you a better picture, right? It gives you a better picture of how the market's reacting to these levels. So, and that's why I add this blue level of interest. And that allows me to kind of enter into the market safely, setting, a stop loss, just around these levels here, right? Just right above 81. And then at that point, just let the market do its thing. So right now we're just consolidating in the yellow. We could possibly resume higher. Now you can see why I set this blue area of interest. It's because, look, this was resistance here, right? And that was also some type of support over here. A little wonky, but you'll get the point. So what I'm waiting for is like maybe to add on to my longs, just waiting for a little consolidation here, and then maybe a resumption higher towards 125, 126. But as of right now, I pace myself in a long position from 90 cents. I know that was that looked kind of dangerous from this angle, but when you're zooming out, you wait for 1 week, wait for the closures, then I would set a candle, a line here, and then see how the market would react on an 8-hour basis, right? I want to see exactly how the markets from each time zone reacts to that, right? We had resistance, we broke through, resistance again, broke through, and then we finally kind of popped out of here. So, around here, these are the levels where, I would come into the market. But again, I'm not here to trade, to show trading. I'm just kind of here to, you know, show you how to approach the markets, right? How to take a look at the markets, right? Make the most of your capital when you're deploying into the market, especially if you're dollar cost averaging. I like to buy into support rather than buying into, see, I wouldn't buy here, right? Because this was resistance. I would kind of just start buying here and then dollar cost averaging more here. So I make the most out of my money, just because I like more bang for my buck. So right now we're just waiting. Right, it's what's today? Today's Wednesday. So today's Wednesday, right? So I would assume a couple days. Let's just take the daily. We have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll see how the market closes. If we're able to close above this yellow zone, then we can expect a resumption higher into possibly 130, right? Because you're playing me. I'm seeing weekly to weekly with some in betweens, how the market, right? So if I can see, right, because bulls take the stairs, right? So I just wanted to see how they react. If we can get some consolidation up to this level and this level, it'll confirm that it'll hit around 130 area. So right now we're just waiting, seeing how the market reacts. We are in bullish momentum. This is the 3-day, which gives you a little bit of a clearer picture, right? This was support, and then we just kind of slammed down here. So it gives you a little bit of a better picture. And you can see the blue area of interest kind of plays a role as well. So you can see how that kind of, leads into my bias. So I do like the weekly, the 3-day, and the daily. And right now, again, just waiting, right? So possible scenario for bullish, we just keep maintaining momentum and into these zones. And if not, we could see another pullback into $1 and then a nice resumption higher, all depending on what Bitcoin is doing, right? So we went over Bitcoin, we went over Ethereum, we went over XRP. I haven't done Litecoin yet. I don't really go over Litecoin much because me personally, I don't own it. Besides just maybe a leverage position, but I don't have it in my portfolio. This is XLM. I do like XLM. XLM looks kind of healthy. You can see how this light area of interest had some market interactions, right? We see a little bit of resistance here. We started holding support, came back up, get a slam down right back into this area. So it makes sense, right? That on the weekly we could see how this kind of interacts with this blue area. So if you see it on the 3-day, it's a much clearer. That's why I like looking at the 3-day. It gives you an angle that not a lot of people can see if they had the free version of trading view. So 26.5 was support, is support as of right now. Broke right through the weekly support here, and then now we're just resuming into our yellow area, which is indecisive, right? It's an area where it was resistance, support, then it was resistance, then a slam down, and then now we're just back up retesting these areas one more time. I like to see some consolidation up here, and then hopefully a nice little rise towards 37 cents. So that would be our bullish scenario. Temporary, short term, really short term. Bear scenario would be a pullback towards 28 cents, 28.5 again, right? The market has a way of manipulating psychology, right? So it would just make sense that we could see something like that. But as of right now, we're just holding on. We're just waiting to see what the market does. If we get a nice little candle closure into these levels, that signals the bulls. That would signal the bulls to start entering and start buying dips and start continuing higher and higher. So that's it for XLM. That would be my breakdown for XLM on a higher time frame. As you can see, these levels kind of, again, through my eyes, there's some kind of market interaction here, right? So we can see how the market kind of plays from level to level. Pretty much the level was here, up, down, higher, and then, ultimately, hopefully, a lot higher, or at least retesting the 70 cents area. Again, don't like to predict markets. I'm just showing you how markets move in patterns, right? They always move in patterns from, from point A to point B and then down to point A again, just to confirm that this was support. And then now we're just kind of consolidating, and then hopefully, we'll see something like that. Or we could just see a complete, meltdown. We can't go over, and then we'll just go down. Again, we don't know exactly. We're just here to kind of just, uh, you know, observe the market. Just to see it as it comes, rather than trying to make a kind of prediction. Um, we hear a lot of people saying 100K Bitcoin, 100K. I believe it, right? But we'll see what happens, right? There's always there could always be a black swan event that could totally, take the market and just kind of, throw everybody off. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out, right? So just mess around with these levels over here and see how that works. I do like candles like this, right? These are just nice candles where the market is paying attention to. If we're able to, the faster that it slams down, the faster that it pumps right back up to those levels. So it's going to be interesting to see within this next couple of weeks, couple of months, to see how the market reacts. So that's that in a nutshell. Again, I'm pretty new to kind of posting these videos up. I'll try to make it as clear cut, concise as possible. So I'm just starting out now, so I'll start getting better at this, getting proper equipment. But I just wanted to share how I view the markets. I do post insights on certain Discord channels, just screenshots and just how I analyze the markets, and it does seem to help a lot of people out there. So it just gives me a little bit more of a boost to try to just to post up and just to share with the community, because it means a lot, right? It means a lot just trying to trying to help people understand and just trying to see the market, and try to explain it in a very simple form, simple explanations, very basic. And yeah, hopefully you're able to gain as much knowledge as possible from these videos. So I really do appreciate the time, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.